What is up, everyone? Welcome back at a new little spot over here, and actually check out this fireplace TV setup. I think I'm gonna do my house that I'm renovating the exact same way. Be curious what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. I think it's like a good little way to I don't know. I've been paying more attention to interior design and things like that since I'm working on this house, and I like the way that looks. So let me know what you guys think, your opinion. But in any case, I wanted to do this video today about really just getting used to your own process, really adopting your own process when it comes to, you've been doing this series basically on robotic affirmations, and ultimately there's so many different, so many people. I can give you advice and you can go to other people for advice, and some people, there's that 10,000 affirmation challenge, and there's a lot of different things that people say and recommend to do, and ultimately it's going to be like your own practice, and it's going to be like what you make of it, what you do with it, and how it ends up serving you. There's a teacher. His name is John Kehoe, and he's an extremely wise teacher. He's definitely positively impacted my life and my understandings, and I would love to do an interview with him at some point. Maybe that'll happen. But in any case, when I was going through his program, he has a program called Mind Power. He developed this program while he was in the woods, right? He was for a long time, he was like a club promoter, and he was doing other things, and then he ended up deciding that he wanted to go into the woods to understand the powers of the mind, the powers of the human mind. He had had a lot of experiences in his life where he had come to understand, obviously, the powers of the mind, the powers of manifesting, and all of this stuff. And so he went into the woods, and he was coming up with this kind of model that is now called Mind Power, right? And you can go and look it up. He has a book. He also has courses and things like that. But while he was in the woods, one of the things that he was doing was practicing these affirmations. He was practicing robotic affirming in order to, use this power of the mind and take control of the mind. And while he was doing this, the phrase that he was adopting, he had adopted this phrase that was, "I have infinite power at my disposal." And what he describes is that as he was doing this, there would be some days it would be like, yeah, he was like, it felt good saying that to himself, and other days where he just like didn't feel it really that much. There would be certain days where he like didn't feel it at all. Like he felt like he was completely lying to himself saying this, right? And then there would be other days where he was just like, yeah, like this feels good. He feels in alignment with the affirmation. And this is the power of robotic affirming, is the power that by simply allowing his awareness to like marinate in that space, to allowing that idea to dominate his awareness, regardless of how he felt that time in that moment. He could have felt like he was lying to himself. He could have felt pretty good about it. He could have felt neutral, okay about it, right? Anywhere in between. But there was one day where he woke up, and he describes it, and I love this story because he says that he woke up with the firm, knowing, burning sensation in his mind, in his being, like throughout his entire body. He could just feel, he's like, I have infinite power at my disposal. I know I have infinite power at my disposal. And that story, I love it so much because it illustrates how the power of repetition, it's the same thing when we do something a lot of times. A lot of the times we're practicing a sport, or we're practicing whatever it might be, and we feel like, yeah, right now it's just like we're not feeling it. We're like, damn, like I feel like I went one step forward and two steps backwards, so to speak. Or, you really just feel like there's just friction. You just feel like, damn, like I don't really know if I'm actually getting the result. And a lot of the time what happens is through that repetition, whether it's the repetition of the affirmation, whether it's a repetition of an action, now you just, at a certain point in time, it just clicks. It just all falls into place. And that's the power of repetition. That's the power of doing it like in this way. And yeah, you have like I said, there's so many differing opinions. You can ask so many different people what they think, and everyone's going to have their own take on a lot of these kinds of topics. But that kind of awareness of being it, embodying it, I really think that's what we're going for when we are doing this in this repetitive manner, in this robotic manner. And that's the beauty of it, is that it's allowing it to kind of just go past the conscious gatekeeper, because we're not trying to force that emotion. If it's not there, like we might, like in his words, you might feel like you're lying to yourself, or you might feel like you're just saying it and you're just going through the motions. But by doing it over and over again, eventually it bypasses the conscious gatekeeper of the subconscious mind, and then it seeps into the subconscious. And then you will reach a point, you should reach a point, especially if you are doing other things to supplement this. Like I've mentioned before, you can say this to yourself in the mirror. You can take corresponding actions in your reality to kind of cement it in other ways. I posted that video about cementing it in. You can write it down, right? You're doing this thing over and over again. You're improving yourself in other areas, right? And eventually, like, that inner knowing, that embodiment of it is going to come to the surface. It should come to the surface. That's been my experience, at least. You have people out here that say that you don't ever need to enter into the feeling and things like that. And yeah, like, things can work without entering into the feeling. But I think that what my understanding of the feeling is really just embodying it, like becoming it. When you become the thing that you are affirming, or the thing that you are going for, then you naturally are going to feel different. You're going to feel from the point of view of being that. So yeah, there's just so many there's so many ways that it can work for you. And I would encourage you to just kind of try different things out. But essentially that's what we're going for, is we're trying to embody. We're on the path of embodying that higher version, embodying that version that, we get these intuitive impulses, or we get these kind of mental images that come into our mind. We get these ideas. Why is it that you want your manifestation anyways? Well, again, I've mentioned this before. It's so that you can become more in alignment with that higher version of yourself, that higher version of yourself that is, tapping into your limitless potential, that God force energy, that divine energy. And I've been listening to Joe Dispenza's his course recently. It's called the Intensive, the online intensive course. And he talks about this too. And he talks about, like, getting into the state where you're in the space, you're formless, you're not in the material world anymore. You are in the world of thought. And he's like, you have to be only in the world of thought. If you want to change the world with thought alone, you have to enter into the world of thought. And all of these people come at this with a different angle and their own kind of take on things, but they really are all saying the same thing. And it sounds crazy. I might sound crazy for saying this, but really I think what's going on is you are kind of just like upregulating your DNA. That's something that Joe Dispenza talks about. It's like you're tapping into this. Now all the magic is available to you when you embody that. Now all of the ability to manifest, the ability to have these synchronicities, these magical things happening, all of it starts flowing when you tap into that point of awareness that is in tune. And it's so hard to describe. It's really like an embodiment type thing. And that's why we have all these tools here, like robotic affirming, is so that we can get closer and closer to this. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I had a moment yesterday where I literally felt it turn on. I felt this, it's like it snaps on into place sometimes. And I think even in terms of making these videos, I think one of the reasons that the videos lately have been resonating more, or getting more views and getting more engagement, and more of you guys have been liking them, it seems like, is because I've slowly allowed myself to be into that place where I'm allowing that to come through. It's like this divine energy just comes through you when you're in this space, rather than before I was actually putting in more effort on trying to make better thumbnails, trying to almost do outlines of the videos, or almost do little like mini scripts of the videos. And that efforting was actually preventing that higher energy to just flow through and just outflow naturally. At least that's what it seems like to me. And And I don't really want to get into like whatever the situation yesterday, because it's kind of personal, but it was this moment where it just turned on and everything just flowed amazingly. Like the response to like in the external environment was such that it was like, yeah, this makes total sense, because this is what I've been envisioning. This is what my internal representations have been showing up as. And it's also what I've just been affirming, you know, that things are just going my way. Things are just getting better and better and better. And that's all of this goes again hand in hand, like I've been saying. And so I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm excited for things to start clicking for you guys, and just knowing that the path using this is really just to get to that embodiment aspect. And like Frederick Dodson says, we've been covering his stuff, like looking at life from that viewpoint, like what Neville Goddard says, like the state. These are paths to get there. And that is, once you tap into that, it's so refreshing. It's so cool, because you can see how the work that you've been doing has kind of coalesced into allowing you to step into that new viewpoint, into embodying that point of view. So yeah, along the path, it can get messy. It can get, it can feel sometimes like it's not working, or like things aren't going the way that you want them to. And I just want you guys to know that it's part of the process. And by doing the work, by doing this yourself and experimenting and figuring out what works for you, what you prefer, what you don't prefer, which ways of doing it. Do you like doing it in the mirror? Do you like doing it out loud? Do you like, because I think getting yourself up, once you've gotten used to the robotic aspect of it, and your conscious is accepting it more and more, it's beginning to accept the idea more and more, that's when you can really begin to affirm, like with that conviction in the mirror, looking into your own eyes, like telling yourself, or even just walking around the house, just carrying around that positive energy, that embodied energy of the thing that you're going for, whether it's the confidence, whether it is that inner knowing, whether it is that inner, that you are just competent, that you are just a master at communicating, that you're a master of manifesting, whatever, overarching kind of blanket affirmation that you've been using, that you've been going with lately, you are now just like feeling it. And that feeling it, that's going to really kind of just supercharge it. And so, yeah, this is just one way, like one thing that based off, yesterday and everything that's been going on lately, kind of what's coming through right now. Take what makes sense, discard what doesn't. If some of it doesn't, again, it goes back to what resonates with you, where you're at in the journey, where you're at right now. They say a lot of the times that there's certain books and there's certain spiritual teachings and there's certain knowledge, even just regular self-development knowledge that you come across. And it's like your level of understanding governs how much you're able to understand at that moment. You might read a book, you might have read a book like a year ago, let's say, and on this journey, as you improve yourself, or as you're learning more and becoming more into depth at this skill, you read it again now, and you understand like on a deeper level what you didn't understand before. Now those same words have another meaning. There's more nuance. There's another layer to the meaning of the words. There's that phrase that's like, the sword is unfathomable. That's another kind of understanding of like whatever discipline, whatever skill set that you're using, there's so much to it there that there's almost, even if you think you've reached a point of mastery, there's still more to go beyond that. So we're all on this path that's like, we're all on this path together, but it's also an individual path that we also each individually go on and explore on our own. And so I guess all that I'm saying is like, allow this to integrate, allow yourself to integrate these ideas, allow yourself to be experimental and be experiential with the ideas. Don't just sit there and theorize and, sit around thinking about it. Do the thing, do the exercise that we're talking about, do the, put it into practice. And by doing that, you're going to really, really begin to see a lot of movement, a lot of success, a lot of results. But again, it's like, it's never just like this upward trajectory. It's all the way around. It's like you go up, you go down, you go all the way around, and then you come back, and then you go this way and then that way. And then like eventually, finally, you realize, oh, wow, only in hindsight can I see the path, that it all makes sense now. Anyways, guys, much love as always. I hope that this video resonates. I hope that this makes sense. And with that being said, much love as always. Drop this with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.